I thought I would tell you a little story. So we are talking about emotional eating tonight, and I didn't realise how much of an emotional eater I was. But when I was little, my grandmother, I adored her, and I used to go to her pub. She had a pub, and when I used to arrive, I'd go straight in and I'd run around to give her a big hug, and I just couldn't wait. I was so excited to get there. And when I got there, I'd look at her and I'd go, can I? And she'd go on then. And behind the bar was a big box of flakes. And I'd run out and I'd have like a flake in each hand like this. I'd be like, desperate. And even now, if I have a food of choice, if I could choose anything to eat, it would be a Cadbury's flake. Because I associated all of that love and connection with her. So I just thought I'd tell you that little story because, as we're logging on tonight. So, hi everybody. If you are watching, can you give me, if you're watching live, can you give me a hashtag live? If you're watching on replay, can you give me a hashtag replay? Apparently the more comments we get, the more people are likely to see this and the more people that I can help, which is the whole idea of doing it. I'm just going to move you around a bit because you're a bit wonky. That's a bit better. So who do we have? I have to put my glasses on for this because I can't see. So Kirsty, hi love, hi Lynn, hi Ob, nice to see you. So we've got 3, 4, 5 people on at the moment. That's not too bad. Hi Kirsty, nice to see you. Give me a thumbs up or a heart or something, let me know. Type something in there to let me know that you're here. That would be great. So, what we're doing this evening, we are going to be talking about emotional eating. Now, I did a little bit of a start last week, and just to let you guys know who I am, my name is Amanda Jane Duggan, and I am a weight management and eating psychology coach, and I work primarily, but not exclusively, with bariatric patients. Because that's what I am. I'm a bariatric patient myself. I'm just over 6 years out. And after my surgery, I went on an extensive journey of self-discovery and training, eating disorder therapist, NLP, EFT. I'm doing a course at the moment at the Eating Psychology Institute in America. And also working with a lady called Shauna Quigley, who is a psychotherapist who specialises in anxiety and emotional eating in Ireland, and I'm going to be sharing with you some of her stuff tonight with her permission, because I am training to be one of her coaches too. So I keep doing all this stuff so that I absolutely understand my own eating, can keep my own weight stable, but also so I can share it with you and help you guys, because I'm absolutely passionate about the long-term success of weight loss surgery people. I know that pain. I know where you've come from. I have been there and I understand it. And the fear that we all have about getting back to where we started or putting the weight back on, and I know, I don't need to even hypothesize, but I know that an awful lot of that for me was in my eating behaviours, or should I say my mindset around the eating, rather than actually the amount that I ate. It was about why I was eating what I was eating, and without unravelling that, I would never have had the success that I have now and the freedom that I have around food. So I wanted to share as much as I can with you guys about that, to try and help, and that's why I do these lives on a Monday evening, so that I can give as much of my knowledge that I've learnt on a group basis, where I can to you guys. Obviously it's never as intensive as it is if you're on an individual basis, and I do have coaching if people want to get in touch with me to find out how that I can help them with that. It's absolutely fine. Let me know, just drop me a PM and I'll give you more information about that. But so this evening, what I wanted to do is to just talk to you a little about the methodology. So for over the next 4 or 5 weeks, I am going to be working out, with you, a plan about your emotional eating. So what kind of emotional eater you are, because we are all different. Why you eat emotionally, and what if there's any self-sabotage going on and how you can do something about it. So that's the idea over the next 4 or 5 weeks. Tonight what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing a quiz. So you are going to need a pen and paper. So if you haven't got one, hop off and go and get one now, because if you don't have a pen and paper, you're not going to remember this. It's really important. You're going to need a pen and paper, and we're going to do a quiz, and tonight I'm going to ask the questions and explain a bit about the methodology or the reasons why I'm doing it, and the psychology behind it. And then next week I will give you the answers to the questions that will enable you to have an individual specific look at which are your emotional eating drivers, because not one size fits all. We're all very different. And then I'm going to give you some tips and tricks to help you to uncover and unravel and heal those over the next few weeks. Without further ado, could I ask, guys, if you can, by all means, questions, and I will try and get back to them in the end. I might not be able to get to them all as we're going along. But as you're answering these questions, please can you put your answers, yes or no, whatever, into the comments box. Because first of all, it lets me know I can help you. But the second one is that it's the identification for other people, so that they know that they're not alone. And that's really important, that other people know that they're not alone, because half of the time with our emotion or our relationship with food, we think we're bloody barming, we're mad, what's wrong with me? What on earth is wrong with me? And having identification with other people is really important in this journey. So I urge you to be as honest as you can, and share your answers on the group so that others can see as well if you're feeling the same. And if you're not, that's fine as well, because some people will answer yes to all of these questions, and others will answer yes to 1 or 2 of them, or 3 or 4 of them, but not all of them, and they'll all be different. The ones that we answer will be different for all of us. So that means it's a very individualised plan, an individualised thing. So you're getting the wheel of death, Lynn. Is that from my end or your end? Is everybody else getting the wheel of death? Can you see me? Is everything all right? Just before I go any further, can you give me a thumbs up if you can see me and hear me okay? Not sure, Lynn. I think other people are struggling as well, because nobody's giving me any thumbs up or hearts that I can see. Helen, you're on. Susie, can you let me know? Kirsty says it's all okay. Susie says okay. Okay, all right then. So I will... Okay, I'll carry on. Okay, so the first thing is that when we are eating in a way that we think is not helpful for our higher purpose. So say our higher purpose is to lose weight, which most of us is, or to sustain a comfortable weight. When we're doing that, that is our behaviour, okay? And most people think that it's their behaviour that they're embroiled in that is the problem. They want to stop the behaviour. They don't understand, why can't I stop this behaviour? And they concentrate all of their efforts on changing or stopping the behaviour. So I'm going to cut out carbs. I'm going to stop eating after 6 o'clock. I'm going to go keto. I'm going to only eat dessert on a Friday, whatever. They try to change that behaviour. Now, the thing is that a behaviour that you're undertaking is only ever trying to do something, a few things. It's trying to move, soothe, or create a feeling. So it's trying to create a feeling of happiness. It's trying to soothe a feeling of sadness. It's trying to create a feeling of joy. Every behaviour that we do is to move, soothe, or create some sort of feeling in our body. Brushing our teeth is to create a feeling of wellness, freshness. getting dressed in the morning. It's to create a feeling of togetherness and not vulnerable. You know, every behaviour that we do. And eating behaviour is a very big part of our life. So, in emotional eating, the eating behaviour, it has a reason, and that reason is usually emotional. Okay, so another behaviours are the same. So, for example, drinking, gambling. In the behaviour, they're trying to move, soothe, or create something else. So when somebody's obsessively drinking or gambling, they're usually trying to get away from the feelings in their body. So they're trying to soothe those feelings or move them out of the way, to get rid of them. You hear people saying, get off my own head, get off my head, get out of my head. You know, it's to try to get rid of those feelings that are causing thoughts. And it's the feelings that cause the thoughts, and then the thoughts that can cause the action. So it's like, I'm feeling, anxious or sad. I think that's because of, and then I'm going to do something like eat. So what we're going to try and do over the next couple of sessions is, what feelings are driving your behaviour? So what feeling is it that's causing that behaviour to need to be soothed or eased? Having a look at what the drivers are for that behaviour, what the behaviours are, and what we call the payoff. So you might not believe it, but I'll talk about, there is some payoff for that emotional eating. You are gaining something out of it. You may not be aware of it. You might say, Amanda, that's rubbish. When I am secret eating, I am gaining nothing out of it. I hate it. I don't want to do it. When I'm binging, I hate it. I don't want to do it. But believe me, you will be gaining something out of it. And then we've got the fallout after it. That, as you know it, I've done it. Oh, shit, what have I done? That's the fallout. Okay? So in order to change that behaviour of eating, in whatever way that means, we need to find out what the feelings are that are driving us towards that behaviour. Does that make sense? So what are you trying to move, soothe, or create? Give me a thumbs up if that makes sense. We're very slow tonight on the thumbs up. Maybe it's just because it's taking a while for it to come through my end. Okay, so I'll say it again. So in order to change the behaviour, which is the emotional eating, we need to find out what are the feelings that are driving us towards the emotional eating in the first place. So what are you trying to move away from or towards, soothe, heal, or are you trying to create a feeling of something? And that will become more apparent as we go along. The other thing is that knowledge does not change behaviour. And we all have knowledge, we're all intelligent, but knowledge doesn't stop it. And this is the problem. We spend all our life trying to find out knowledge. If I only know a bit more about that, if I only know a bit more about that, and then I can change it, then I can stop eating. If I find out more about that diet, if I find out more about that exercise, or... Now, you guys, I know, have been dieting like I have for many, many years. If we all got together collectively, we could write 10 bestsellers about diets. You know, we really could. Or somebody will be an expert in keto, somebody will be an expert in low carb, somebody will be a great calorie counter, somebody will be a great exerciser. You know, I mean, we've got the knowledge that us guys have got before we've got to the stage of surgery is immense. So why is it that you are going out, or you say you're at work and you're going to the counter, I'm going to have a tuna salad for my lunch. I know I'm going to have a tuna salad for my lunch. Absolutely know that. It's on the plan. That's what I'm going to have. And you get to the counter and the flake for me, as I was talking about before, is at the counter. Before I know it, an immediate sense of reaction to that food of choice. And before I know it, in a millisecond, I've bought it. I'm not even aware of it. That flake's in my handbag. And it's because I have got those long-held associations towards that food of choice that override all conscious knowledge of what I should be doing. The instinctual, subconscious mind just takes over in that moment. And then I will go, oh, you are so weak. You're so weak, Will. God, you are stupid. Why did you do that? You know you didn't want to eat that flake. You know that you said you'd have a tuna salad. And that just makes my self-esteem really worse. And that low self-esteem for me and many others, has severely contributed to the emotional eating in the first place, and it's a vicious cycle. So no amount of knowledge is ever going to change my emotional eating, because the emotions that I have with food are so strong, so deep, so long been in there, so embedded, that knowing what I should be doing is never going to change that. So, the first thing I want to say to you guys, it isn't your fault. You are not weak-willed. You're not mad. You're not bad. You're not weak-willed. You are caught up in an emotional eating tangle and a relationship with food. Okay, so if a behaviour is driven by a feeling, we've got to try and find out where the feelings come from, as all behaviour gives you something emotionally. So if you're saying that secret eating gives me nothing, it doesn't give me anything. It does. Absolutely does. Binge eating gives you nothing. It gives you something. We need to find out what that is on an emotional level. Because if you think that people slit their wrists, don't they? Self-harm themselves. That's another kind of abuse of the body. And they do it. They say they get a sense of soothing from it. I can't understand that because I've never done it. But people do. It's like a feeling of certainty. It's a feeling of sense of self, sense of soothing. They're soothing those feelings. Even though it's more painful, it's a kind of pain that they can deal with. Yeah, Susie, I'd eat the tuna salad than the flake. Exactly. But the point is, the flake would have got on to been there, instinctively. Yeah, it's just got there. Even though I've got every bit of knowledge that I didn't want that. It's a subconscious brain that tells you the food will make you feel better quickly. So it gives you an initial feeling of good. So your brain records this initial feeling of good right from a very young child, like mine with the flakes of my grandma, on a subconscious level, that when I'm with grandma, I have flakes, she makes me loved, she loves me more than anybody else in the world. And my subconscious mind has recorded that from being a very, very young age. And now, whenever I'm feeling uncomfortable and I feel I need a high dose of loving, that flake, grandma's not there anymore, unfortunately she's died, that flake brings me back, or brings my subconscious mind back to that moment immediately. And it makes me feel some sense of love. And it only lasts a few seconds before I am, oh shit, what did I do? But that driver is so, so high. And even though I know I'm going to feel shit about it later because I've done it a million times, I can't stop myself. Because that need for love is always there in all of us. So, for a behaviour to turn off, we have to find the feeling that's driving it, the feeling that we're getting from it, and turn these feelings off. Then, when we can turn those feelings off or soothe or ease them in a different way, the behaviour just takes care of itself. It almost just automatically goes away because you've taken away the reasons behind it in the first place. Trying to change the behaviour without finding out why you're doing it, you're on a hiding to nothing. It will do it for a while. And that's why I say it's so important when we have the surgery. Yeah, the surgery will change our behaviour for a while. It always does, because we can't physically eat. But it doesn't change the emotions. And that's why a lot of you will have gone through the surgery and thought, God, I'm having a food funeral. I feel awful. I don't have any, my feelings around food have all changed. I don't enjoy food anymore. I feel awful. I feel stressed all the time. I feel anxious all the time, because you're not being able to soothe yourself with that food anymore. So, I'm just reading my notes so I make sure I tell you everything. So you're not mad, you're not bad, it's not your fault. You've just got a load of emotions that are going on, and the emotion that is driving it and the emotion that you are getting from it. So we need to find out what those are to begin with, and that's where the test starts. So have you all got a pen and paper? If you are ready, can you please give me a thumbs up or heart, and then we will start the test. I'm just going to have a slurp. So I'm going to do the test today, and then next Wednesday I'm going to give you the results, because we won't have time to do both of them and explain them properly. And then after that we're going to go on to the payoffs. I might do a bit of live coaching with somebody. And then we will talk about self-sabotage and then wrap it up with how you can get extra help and things from me. Okay, lovely. So it's in 3 parts. So there's test 1, test 2, test 3. And each part has got individual bits in it. So, and if you relate to it, let us know what you're feeling so other people can see they're not alone. So test 1. We're going to see specifically some of your pain points. You may all of them, one of them, or even none of them. That's fine. Don't get worried if you haven't got any. That's great. You know, you're not an emotional eater. If you have got all of them, that's great as well, because we can work on all of them. It doesn't matter, but everybody's different. And this way you can see exactly where you need to work on rather than just going, oh, an emotional eater. What does that mean? So, test A. Question 1. Is there a particular food or food group that you cannot say no to? So a particular food or food group that you just cannot say no to. If there is, pop it in the comments if you want to share that with us, or just a yes if that. So test A, question 1, is there a particular food or food group that you just cannot say no to? More than one. Okay, Jackie, yeah. Some people do have more than one. Lynn says yes, crisps. Yeah, so question 1, choose cheese, Susie. Yeah. Is there a particular food or food group that you cannot say no to? Brilliant, brilliant. Okay, that's lovely. Crisps. How many people it's crisps? And you know what often happens when I do this? It's quite often chocolate, but you guys, it's crisps. That's interesting. Really interesting. Okay. Beverly, yes. Okay. So, can I move on to question 2? So, question 2. Do you eat to reward yourself? So I've had a really good day, I've been a good girl, I deserve this. I've had a bad day, so I deserve it. I'm going to reward myself with food. So question 2, do you eat to reward yourself? Yes, Jackie says yes, Kirsty, no. Okay, lovely. Beverly, both for me. Yes. Yes. So Beverly, you can see that no, so you question, next week you'll concentrate on question, test A, question 1. And the rest of you, I did, but not so much now. Okay, Lynn, that's fine. Good, it's progress. So, do you eat to reward yourself? Perfect. So, question 3, make sure you're writing these down, girls, please. Or men, boys, if there's any boys on. Question 3. Do you feel that you have no conscious control? You find yourself eating and you don't know how you started it. You're just not aware. So you feel that you've got no conscious control. It's not driven by hunger or even thought. You just like unconsciously eat and you think, how did that end up in my hand? I do that a lot. I walk past a fruit bowl and it's not necessarily, bad foods. It will be just something I'm just like, put something in my mouth. I'm cooking. Somebody said to me once, think about the amount of times that you just pick when you're cooking and, I have no conscious control. I'm not aware of it. It's mindless eating. Yeah, I know, Kirsty, you are very careful about what you eat. Yeah, you are. I know you do. Okay. So can you guys already see how some people are yes to question 1 and no to question 2, but others are the opposite? So it's a very personal and very individualised this, which is really important because we're not all the same. So question 4. Do you have particular times or events that you eat or look forward to eating? So for example, Friday or Saturday night. On Saturday night's my night that I'm going to eat. I'm going to have that and I look forward to it and I plan around it. Or say particular times in the day, so after dinner in the evening. So do you have particular times or events that you eat or look forward to eating? For example, Friday or Saturday night, whatever, where you've got lots of pleasure associations with. Yes, evening is difficult for me. Yes, bedtime every night. Yes, you can see here, it's great. So you can see that the rituals is the particular times are a really big thing. So we can see it's emotional, because if it wasn't emotional, it wouldn't be associated with certain times. No, Beverly, yes, evenings when the kids are in bed. Okay, that might be interesting, Michelle, to see whether that's also a reward thing as well. So I've got the kids to bed, everything's finished, I can reward myself. So it might be interesting to think about. I don't know whether you answered yes to question 2. Yeah, Lynn, this is not necessarily self-sabotage, darling. This is just that we are associating food with pleasure at a certain time. It's not necessarily self-sabotage. We'll come on to self-sabotage at a certain date. These are your associations with food. So it's looking at your associations with your emotions. Okay, next. So, question 5. Excuse me a minute, girls. Do you have particular rituals that you have set up around food? So what I mean by that is like certain brands of food. I know of people that separate the Smarties into colours and leave the orange ones till last. Or they always dunk the biscuits in the tea. Or you eat certain things off certain plates, eating the chocolate around the edge of the biscuits. Do you have rituals around food? Okay. I know when my trigger to turn food would be, but I consciously do what I can to be good at it, to avoid it. Lovely. So it's very much in your conscious, Kirsty, at the minute. So you know that you've got triggers in you brought it into your conscious mind. That's excellent. That's really good. I want to ask you a question, Kirsty, just very quickly. Do you think that this is a natural healing from your emotional eating, or are you running on complete willpower, hanging on like that? And you have a feeling that at any moment, if you let one little bit back in, the whole lot would fall with only a pack of cards. Have a little think about that. Or whether you feel you are completely free from this and it doesn't worry you at all. So is it a willpower thing, or is it a sense of comfort or ease with your emotional eating? It just doesn't have any hold over you. Be interesting to find out. Clawing at the willpower, desperate. Yeah, I thought that, Kirsty. I really did. You know, I think it's your willpower, and it's like because you've not eased or sorted any of these things. How long is that going to last? Is there a fear about what's going to happen if you let go? Be interesting to know that. Okay. So, who has rituals? Beverly, not. Michelle, yes. No, not at all. Yes, with loads of food. So, you don't have any rituals at all? So, we don't eat at certain time, with certain things? No. Okay. Good. So, that's a no for that one. Okay, but some people do. Okay, so, anybody guess what I'm trying to test for at this stage? Has anybody got it yet, what I was trying to test for in that first test? Test A. I think if I let go, I'm scared would not stop again, all the way back and be where I was. Yeah, I gathered that, Kirsty. That's exactly what I feel from you when I've spoken to you, and we have had a few conversations. Yeah. And I have no willpower. You've got habit or ritual, Jackie. Yeah, good, excellent. So I'm going to just go through those questions again and just make sure you've got yes, no at the side of each one, and then bring it back next week so you've got the answers to the questions. So, test A. Question 1. Is there a particular food or food group that you cannot say no to? Question 2. Do you eat to reward yourself? Question 3. Do you feel that you have no conscious control that you find yourself eating and you don't know how you started it? Question 4, do you have particular times or events that you eat or look forward to eating? And question 5, do you have particular rituals that you have set up around food? Oh, bless you, Kirsty. It's always lovely to speak to you. Okay, lovely. Right. So that was test A. Is everybody ready to move on to test B? Any questions? Is there anybody that's not answered yes to a single question? Anybody who has not answered yes to any of that first 5 questions? Kirsty, you haven't? So you've answered no to all of those, that you don't have a particular food. Okay, all right, lovely. So that is really interesting, really interesting. Kirsty, I'd like you to go back and think about before you had the surgery and answer those questions for me. Can you do that? And maybe PM me the answers, it'd be interesting. Okay, so next week when we do the answers, Kirsty, I want you to have the before the surgery and now. And maybe some of you might want to do that as well. So you can work out whether you are hanging on with willpower or whether it's healed. This emotional eating is healed. Michelle, yes to all of them. So did I, darling. So did I. Okay, so hi Becky, you're just watching. It's the first video you've watched. Well, welcome. You are very welcome. We are talking about looking at our emotional eating and what type of emotional eating we are. You might want to go back to the beginning and answer the questions, because next week we're going to do the answers to the questions. Okay, so you need to perhaps watch them and yeah, so I think this is number 8, but if you watch from the beginning of this, it's really important so you'll know what the questions are. Answer the questions on a piece of paper, and then next week we're going to do the answers. Okay. So, test B. Try and be honest about this, guys, please. The honesty is the better. So, do you currently use food to create love and connection, or did you? What do I mean by love and connection? So are you somebody who will make food for others to show them your love? You make big dinners, you make cakes. You try to show your love through food. Or do you connect through food with somebody? So I had a client who had a very, very strict father who wouldn't let any sweets or anything in the house, and they had to eat, proper food at certain times, sit up at the table, blah, blah, blah. But her mum loved donuts, and they would go to the supermarket, and she would always go on a Friday evening with her mum to the supermarket, and they'd buy a big bag of donuts and sit in the car and eat a lot together. And that was such a loving thing that they shared. It was a secret thing they shared together, and it was like a love and connection thing with her. It was a real connection thing with her mum. Consequently, when she ever binged or craved food, often it would be a donut, because she would have getting that feeling of love and connection from the food. So, do you currently use food, or have you used food to create love and connection within yourself? Yeah, I love entertaining, barbecues. Yeah, absolutely. Brilliant. Okay, great. So my flake thing with my grandma was definitely using food as a sense of love and connection. So even now, when I'm feeling unloved or I'm feeling unworthy or something, if I have a craving, it's for a Cadbury's flake, because that is the very quickest way I can get that feeling of love and connection with me. Okay. Question 2. Do you use food? So this is test B, question 2. Do you use food to create excitement, spontaneity, variety, or newness? So what I mean by that is, do you love trying new foods, new restaurants? Is food a source of excitement for you? An example for me was, I don't do this so much now, but if I was like looking for a holiday, the first thing I would be doing would be looking to see what people were saying about the food. That was the first thing that was important to me. It wasn't the rooms, it wasn't the pool, it was the food. And was there enough variety in restaurants that I could try? You know, a massive part of my holiday was trying out different restaurants and different food. So do you use food to create excitement, spontaneity, variety, newness? So Jackie says yes. Yeah, but he never noticed that before. Okay, not really. No. Lynn says no to this one. Okay. I'll have to watch later, got to go out. Okay, Beverly, well, nice to see you. Carry on watching it later, or else next week might not mean the same to you. So, yeah, good girl, good. Yeah, we've dropped off a bit. Okay, so, question 3. Test B, question 3. Do you use food to create feelings of safety, ease, and comfort, or contentment? So that's all is well in the world feeling, like taking tight shoes off. Do you use food to create a sense of safety or comfort and contentment? So, for example, for me, if I am stressed, I love to cook. Anybody? Yes? No? Comfort, definitely. Yeah, Jackie? Comfort, yeah, Lynn. It gives you a sense of comfort, safety, contentment. Perfect. Fab. Susie says yes. Yes. So comfort, safety, contentment. Brilliant. Okay. At B. Test B for your information. Right, okay. So what was that one? At B? What do you mean, Susie? Oh, is that the newness and spontaneity, or question 2 or question 3, Susie? Oh, a bedtime. Right, okay. Comfort, yeah, got you. Right, okay, love it. So, okay, so that's the end of test B. We've got one last test, and this one is probably a big one. Well, why do you know why, Susie? It'd be interesting. Tell us why. If you share it with people, that would be lovely. If you want to, if you don't want to, that's also fine. And then we'll go on to test C. Okay, there's nothing coming up, so maybe Susie doesn't want to share, and if she does, we'll perhaps talk about it later. So let's go on to test C. So this is about to assuage loneliness. Oh, bless you. So this would be really interesting now, this next section, because this is about those core feelings and emotions like loneliness. Because that's where we're really getting into what are we soothing, moving away from or to, or trying to change. And because you don't do it when you're not alone. Yeah, absolutely. So that's really important here. So we've talked about what is our drivers. So variety, newness, safety, contentment, all of those things. Now, what are our associations? So our associations with a certain food, with a certain place, with a certain time, with a certain ritual. And then what we're going to try and look at is what are the feelings that we're trying to shift. Does that make sense? So we were really poor when I was young. We never had lots of food or special food. I think that's where it comes from. For me, very well might do. But ultimately, that's the conscious knowledge. What we need to do is to get into that feeling behind that conscious knowledge, what the feeling feels like, and soothe that feeling. And then, and only then, can you do something about the behaviour, which is the eating. Because you may have an understanding of that special food, the fact that you were poor, but it's not changing it. Even though you might be aware of where it's coming from, this is about trying to get deeper and underneath that so that we can try to change it. Okay? So, test C, question 1. Do you have a recurring core pain or feeling? This is really important. Do you have a recurring core pain or feeling? Now, a core feeling or pain is very different than an everyday feeling or pain. I'll try and explain. So it's got such a strong intensity that you cannot get away from it. it hits you in the stomach and it will leave you focused on that feeling only. It's almost like you can't do anything. You rabbit in the headlights. Do you have a feeling like that is recurring? So Susie said, yeah, loneliness. Yeah, so something that you soothe or push food down, push the emotion away. And a lot of people will say, oh yeah, anxiety or stress. Okay, but it's actually getting deeper than that. It's not just saying anxiety or stress. It's things like, because anxiety and stress feels different for everyone. So I want you to go underneath those labels that we put on it, anxiety and stress, like using real words and feelings like loneliness, emptiness, sadness, rejection, those type of things. That absolute, it's like a core feeling that recurs over and over, and something will trigger it, and you go, oh, that's that sadness again, that's that loneliness or rejection, or I feel I don't know how to say it, unworthy or not good enough. Absolutely brilliant, Jackie. Yeah, not good enough. Yes, more than one, Susie. Okay, Jackie said, I think so. Eating makes me happy. Yeah, so you maybe that's the payoff that we have. But this driver of trying to get away from something. So yeah, unworthy, that'll do it every time. I don't know, I feel unworthy, I'm not good enough. And that feeling will keep coming and recurring, and it makes you go, you know, it like almost takes your breath away. And situations or things that people will say will trigger that. Loneliness and abandonment, that's one of mine as well. Susie, rejection is one of mine, rejection and abandonment. Yeah, absolutely. So this is the core feeling. Brilliant. Okay, lovely. And that's the emotions that we're trying to get to. But before we can get to those, we have to be able to manage effectively our everyday feelings. And the problem is that many of us are actually cut off from those because we have been using food to soothe them for so long, we can't even feel everyday emotions. So the second question, so test C question 2 is, do you struggle to manage everyday feelings? So when I say everyday feeling, it's something that gives you a bit of panic or stress, anxiety, and with a lot of people it just goes away an hour later. But does it for you last longer than you think it should do? You just can't get it out of your head. Like somebody cuts you up in the traffic and you're thinking about it all day. You carry it on into your day. Friend walking down the street just snubs you, or you feel that you've been snubbed and you just can't stop thinking about it. You know, why did you think that? What did you do? What did I do wrong? You know, there's everyday things. So it's not this core emotion, it's just an everyday situation that causes you to hold on to the feeling. So anybody struggle to manage everyday feelings that are brought from everyday things? Anybody? Do you struggle to manage everyday situations that bring up feelings? Yes, Lynn says. Can't let go of them. You know, if you can't let go of it. Most of someone I know is going through something bad. Interesting. So you actually feel it that much. You feel it for others. And it may be, Jackie, that you are detached from your own feelings so much that you can only feel it through other people. Because you've detached from your own. You will not associate with your own. Because it's too painful, and for so long you've been shoving it down with food. Don't feel it. Go away. Go away. Yeah, I carry grudges if I feel wrong. Yeah, so you think about it, so it's going over and over in your head. And most people have just let it go. And you know, there's that song, let it go, let it go. You know, I'm terrible. You know, if I feel somebody's done something bad to me, or they've done an injustice to a member of my family, you know, I just can't let it go. I mean, I'm better at it than I used to be, managing those everyday emotions. But yeah, so, you know, a lot of people just eat on this stuff. Okay, question 4. So this is about eating behaviour now. Are you, okay, not the small stuff, but I get nearly sick when things are going on with others. My friend's sister had cancer and I swear I cried every day. I lived with constant knock for months and months. Susie says someone at my gym. Yeah, so thinking about others, most people that are obese are not very good at self-care, but we're excellent at others' care. So we often feel our emotions through other people's pain because we're not in connection with our own emotions. Okay, so you dwell on things too much, yeah. So Michelle, absolutely. So that is what I call emotional, managing your emotions, emotional mastery. You need to learn how to master your own emotions. And that is so important when we're healing from emotional eating. We have to learn to master our own emotions. Okay, so question 4. Test C, question 4. Does anyone secret eat? So in the car, hide food so no one else will see them. I mean, some of you live on your own so you don't need to, but suppose you've got to think about, if somebody was there, would you secret eat? Would you eat secretly? Oh, Susie. Bless you. Your pride was dented. And you don't feel fat anymore, and you're not. You know, you're not. And it's comparative, isn't it? Everything's comparative. So Jackie says, secret eating every single day. Michelle, question 3, secret eating. Yeah. Car is a particular problem. You know, so many people eat in the car. So many people eat in the car. Yeah, oh, you felt embarrassed, Susie. Oh no, bless you. Bless you, darling. Bless you. That's their problem, not yours. What other people think of us is none of our bloody business. It's what we think about ourselves that's the most important thing. So let it go. You didn't know any different. Secret eating, hiding food. Okay. Actually, that was question 4. I'm going to go back. I'm really sorry, guys. Can you stick question 3 in first? I missed one out. Are you caught in what I call a self-esteem cycle? So what does self-esteem cycle mean? So does your core feeling feel that it's a self-esteem issue? So somebody said before, not feeling good enough, feeling unworthy or unloved. And then you eat because you don't feel good enough or you feel unloved. And then you eat and then you feel less worthy and less lovable because you've eaten. And you're in that cycle over and over again. So you eat because you feel bad, then you feel bad because you eat. Is anybody stuck in a self-esteem cycle? This damn computer keeps just going off all the time. I'm sorry. I'm just making sure I've got notes and I don't miss anything. So you're caught in a self-esteem cycle. So your core feeling is an issue around your self-esteem, your worthiness, your lovableness, your being part of, whatever that might be, being good enough. So because you don't feel good enough, you soothe yourself with food. Then you feel even more unworthy or less good enough because you think, why didn't I do that? You know, I mustn't be good enough because I can't do this and I can't do that. You eat and you feel less worthy and less lovable, and then you're in that cycle over and over again. Oh yes, said Michelle. Yeah, say not now, but I used to be. Brilliant, Susie. I mean, you've done some work with me in the past, so, you know, we did work on that, and that's great. So, you know, these things are work in progress. So, yeah. So that self-esteem cycle. Self-esteem caught me. Question 3, you caught your self-esteem cycle. So question 4 is anybody secret eating? I'm really sorry about that, but I got them mixed up, and it's important when I come on to the answers next week. So question 5. So this is about binge eating, specifically binge eating. And I know that after surgery you can't particularly binge eat, as in eat loads of quantity, but maybe more about eating the wrong foods rather than massive quantity. So to separate them out, there's 2 parts to this question. Question 5A is, do you binge eat or do you eat what I would call inappropriate food, but plan it? Okay, so you plan it so you know that you're going to eat it, say on Sunday afternoon before you start your diet on a Monday, or on Saturday night is the night that you're going to eat chocolate, cake, crisp, whatever it is, and you plan it and you know what you're going to eat, you look forward to it. Okay, but do you have a specific, is it planned, Jackie? Do you plan it? Try not to, but I do. Okay, lovely. No sibling, she doesn't plan it. Okay. Yes, Jackie says she plans her binge eating. Not planned. Okay, so let's come on to question 5B. Do you binge eat and it's not planned, it's just because you can't stop? So you go in the kitchen, you take a biscuit out of the tin, you have every intention of eating one, and before you know it, you've eaten 6, and you just seem to have no control over it. So it's like an unplanned binge. Because one is an association problem and one is a core feeling problem. So it's really important that we distinguish between the two. Okay. Oh my God, yes, Michelle says. Oh my God, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah. So that's what I call a core feeling problem. And that's why it's so important to work on those core feelings. Okay. I've answered yes to every question. I'm a bad case. Nothing bad about you, Jackie. It's just great because you can understand now where some of this stuff's coming from. And next week, it'll all fall into place even more. In week 3, it'll fall in even more. And then, we can try and help you. I do both. Is that bad? No. Look, none of you are bad. It's not bad. You're not bad. You're not mad. You're not sad. You are just caught up in an emotional triangle. And you're trying to fix it with surgery, with rules, with regulations, with diet. And it's from here and here. It's not from, or should I say it's from here rather than from here. So it can't be fixed with knowledge. It can't be fixed with, I know I shouldn't be doing this. I'm a bad person. Because it's coming from deeper. It's coming from right down inside you. And, so you're not bad. Absolutely not. How can you be bad if you're not aware of it? And even if you are aware of why the reasons might be, but you're not absolutely understanding where that emotion has come from originally and what that emotion is. Yeah, I've answered yes to every single question as well. So many people do. So many people do. Okay. So, test C. We've got 10 minutes left. Test C, question 6. Do you eat to soothe pain, tiredness, or physical ailment? So if you're tired, do you eat? If you're in pain, do you eat? This is like your physical association with food and pain. So it's like, I am actually really using food because I am in pain. Because a lot of us will use food to soothe emotional pain, but do you actually use it also to soothe physical pain? I'll give you an example of that. My 2 granddaughters, their grandmother sometimes will, if they fall over and hurt themselves, out will come 8 sweets, and she will give them a sweet and say, there, that'll make it better. So she is trying to soothe that physical pain with food, with sugar. Tiredness, absolutely. Okay, lovely. No, Susie says, not tiredness. Good. No, Lynn says, good. So I suppose, right, so the last one, question 7, is, do you talk to food, or does food talk to you? So, either in your head or out loud. So I know if I've got biscuits or chocolate in the house, it will shout my name from the cupboard in the middle of the night. Amanda, you want me. Amanda, I'm here. And I find myself saying, shut the fuck up. You're not going to get me. But do you actually, anybody, have a conversation with food? Or, I really shouldn't do that. Yeah, I know I shouldn't do that, but I'm just going to do that this once. Or, you're talking, having that conversation. So it's like you have a real relationship to food. Anybody? My initial reaction was no, but maybe. Yeah, okay. Okay. Oh, it's gone on the blink again. I have to change this on this computer. Okay, anybody else? Anybody else talk to food, either in your head or out loud, or do you feel food talks to you? Okay. Mine would be ridiculous, like, come to mama. Oh, yeah, absolutely. There you go. So, yeah, come to mama. Mama's going to get you. Mummy will make you better. Absolutely, yes. I'm glad I'm not that only mad one. No, like I said, it's me. And we all think we're mad, and it's not. It's just that you've got such a strong relationship with food. And can you see now why we got as big as we got? Because we have such a strong relationship with food, we actually have conversations with it. You know? It is our friend and our foe. 1 minute it's my best friend because it helps me feel better. The next minute I'm having will you just piss off, go away, stop doing this to me, stop talking to me, leave me alone. So it's like a friend on one hand, a foe on the other, and we have these conversations with it. Somewhat, Lynn said. Okay, lovely. So if it's a somewhat, Lynn, it's a yes. Because we're having yes or no. So if you didn't think, yeah, it's a little bit, it's a yes. Okay, lovely. So that is the end of the test for today. However, I've got a bit of a special test for you. This will be very interesting. So if you have answered yes to each of those questions, I would like you to turn those questions into calories. Just as a matter of seeing what the emotional eating is doing for us. And, you know, maybe if you're not doing it, like Kirsty said, turn it into doing it before you have the surgery. So if you could think about how many times a day if you answered yes to question 1, how many times, what that food association is, say it's chocolate, how many times a day or a week I would eat chocolate and how many calories would that be in it, yeah? So how many times I would eat on my core feeling and what that would be in calories, just a rough guess and a rough guide. So when I was looking to use food for excitement, looking at new restaurants, how many extra calories I would have eaten because of that. So using food to create love and creation. Just give it a ballpark figure, because I do this quite often with clients, and people will be surprised it can be as much as 6,000-7,000 calories a week. It is, the calculator's about to blow up. Well, oh, bless you, Jackie. Mine too. And it's just an interesting exercise. It shows you how important it is to try to heal some of this stuff. Okay? So, or if it's not calories, how much time do you think about that food, or how much time is the obsession with food taking up when you go through all of those things? Okay? So, next week we are going to do the results. So, what we can see is that we have associations with particular foods, and they are driven unconsciously. We're not aware of them. So then we've got feelings that are driving this behaviour, because the behaviour soothes the feeling, or moves it, or creates a different feeling. And then the feeling that's being driven by the behaviour then creates a feeling after, and then some difficult behaviours, that feelings after, like that payoff, or should I say the fallout. So next week I'm going to give you the answers to give you a specific understanding of your emotional eating. And all of these questions will show you what your associations are, what is driving the feelings. We're going to talk about how you feel after it, what your payoffs are. And then in the following couple of weeks, I'm going to perhaps do a bit of live coaching if I feel brave enough, with the technology more than anything. And we're going to talk about self-sabotage as well. So are you sabotaging it? Because if you are sabotaging your behaviour, that means that your reasons for getting to where you want to get to are not as strong as your reasons for not getting there. And you might think that you've got a million reasons and I really, really, really want to do it, I really want to get there, but if there is something that you are sabotaging yourself with, it is so difficult to get there and stay there, because that sabotage will keep taking you back. And I can help you with this over these lives, and will do, but some of it, it's impossible to do it on a situation on a group basis, particularly when it's like a one-way street. So my intention is, I do one-to-one coaching, but also my intention is going to be to set up what I would call a program where you can watch some videos of me talking about it, and then a weekly session where together we can actually go into something called Zoom, where we can actually talk to each other, and I can actually coach you individually but within a group each week, because the power of being in a group is that you will identify those behaviours like you are doing here from other people. You'll go, oh yeah, that's me as well, you know. So that's going to be my intention. So in the future, that's what I'm working on at the moment, is to start this programme where we can work in a group together, where we can look at some of the videos, identify some of them, then come back each week to the group and say, yeah, I've identified what my core feeling is, but can you help me to find out what's at the bottom of that, where it came from, blah, 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 blah. So I'm hoping that some of you would want to join that, and and I can help more and more people, because, you know, that's what I want to do. I'm really, really excited about helping you guys with all this stuff. It is my passion. I have spent thousands of work tirelessly over the past 6 years to learn as much as I can, and always trying to do that. Okay, so I really look forward to seeing you next week. Can I ask you guys to share this on as many groups or as many people as you can? Let people know to watch this so that they come back next week, and tell people how useful it's been. On here, if you think it's been useful, let us know, so that I know that I can, it's worthwhile, it's worth doing, and that other people realise, come and watch Amanda on a Wednesday night on Bariatric Mindset TV, because it's ace. I'd love to get our numbers up a bit, and I'm struggling to do that. Oh, last thing. I have tried to share this on some of the groups, but because it's associated with New Leaf, and that's a surgery provider, they don't want me to do that. So what I am going to do is I'm going to set up a new group, and actually I'm setting up a new business on my own right anyhow with this, so that I can help people purely with the mindset stuff, so they don't have to be associated with New Leaf. And I am calling that Bariatric Success with Amanda Jane Duggan. So please, if any of you would like to join that group, let me know. I'm going to be setting it up this week. I'll be doing tips and tricks on there, on, you know, a couple of times a week, little bits of live snippets about mindset, and I will be then doing the lives from that group from next week onwards, so that I can then share them, or you guys can share them on other groups, because it's not associated with a surgery provider. Some are very, very uncomfortable about me doing that, even though I'm not trying to get surgery people, I'm trying to help people, because it's associated with New Leaf, they don't like that. So let me know in the comments if you would like me to add you to that group, and I will add you to that in this week when I've done it, along with the 6 million other things that I've got on my to-do list. But yeah, okay, so that's lovely. And, you know, let other people know, share it to the groups that you're on, you know, whatever. Just let's get this out here, because, you know, weekly at the moment there's about 5 or 6 of us, and as much as I love you guys, that's a lot of my time, effort and energy when I'm only helping 6 people. And I'd love to carry on doing it, but I just want to be able to help more, and I just don't think people are aware of it. So please make people aware. If you're on any groups, tell them to join this new group that will be coming up, called Bariatric Success with Amanda Jane Duggan. And it will be a closed group, because there's so many people don't want people to know that they're having anything to do with surgery. But I will give you all the link to it. I'll put it on here. I'll put it on as many places as I know. So yeah, great. Okay, darling. Lots of love. Does it just have to be bariatric patients? Anybody with food issues. Anybody with food issues. You know, actually, you're making me think then whether I actually even should call it that. You're making me think whether I should call it... See, weight loss success. I mean, how many groups will there be? Great, guys. Okay, give me some ideas what I should call it. Either on here, after I've finished, or PM me, or maybe I can put a poll up or something. You know, what should we call it, so that other people that aren't bariatric patients might join in if they want to. Reason why I thought bariatrics is because that's my bag, that's what I know. I know you guys were all bariatric patients, but of course there are people out there that just have food issues, and maybe want to find out more about bariatric surgery as well, but they don't, you know, I don't know, it's a difficult one. Let me know. Let me know. I am beyond, I can't think of all these things on my own. I need my gang to help me. Okay, guys, so, it's been great seeing you again. Lots and lots of love. You keep losing me. I'm sorry, Lynn. I don't like losing you. I hope that the signal's not dropping because I'm having terrible problems with my signal here recently. Okay.